All right, welcome back to the channel, Cobalt Black Gaming. I'm your host, Cobalt, and today we're going to be playing some Vellum. This is an action roguelite that is, well, as you could probably tell from the name and the setting kind of here, it's based on books and ink and things. You are a fountain pen that is fighting your way through novels, correcting them and fixing them. This game is very simple, but also very intricate, and that's kind of what I love about it. So you have two spells and a movement ability. You have a generator and a spender, so very, very Diablo, but simplified. And you can pick whatever you want. There's also a quest board that will... I'm sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself. There's also a quest board over here that will kind of give you... It's called suggested reading, and it'll basically tell you, it'll give you a tome and an ability it wants you to use, and that will give you extra meta progression currency. So I always try to do those. You have spots to save your loadouts, which is really cool. And I love that. And the reason that you save your loadouts is because you just saw all the generators, all the spenders, but you come over here, this is your meta progression system, so you kind of just go through this, it almost looks like a battle pass-esque thing, and you're just pumping this currency into it to level it. So I need 400 to get to the next level. But that's not the cool part. The cool part is coming over here to the types of ink. So this essentially is your class. Blue does damage over time, so think like an Affliction Warlock in World of Warcraft. Yellow does crit. Green is your pet class. Red, which is one of my favorites, is your health tank. You deal damage and you heal from that. Pink is kind of your... It adds a debuff and you can detonate that debuff to do damage. Orange gives you a turret. That's very helpful. And then teal ink, as opposed to red, is your barrier tank class, sort of. So we're going to go with red for today, because I've been actually having a hard time with red recently, and I don't know why. It's probably because... I come over here. So you can also level your classes and things separate from that main thing. So you level everything via this, but you get inscriptions per ink. These inscriptions are going to change the way you play the game. They don't necessarily change too much, but they will help give you meta progression and more power, okay? So that's kind of what we're looking at this for. And turns out, man, I just haven't invested in this, and that's probably why I've been having a little bit of problem. All right, we're gonna go with this. And then this one is just you in general. I don't want barrier things on this guy because he is mainly a health tank. All at full, infuse 1, okay. And then convert those when you use your signature spell. These are all pretty interesting. I'm gonna go with dividends. And then your generator can be 10% faster, your generator deals plus 15% damage, your generator generates 15% more resource. We're going to go with faster, because the generator I like to use normally is the D20 or the cards. The cards are fun, it's kind of like a machine gun. The D20 is really fun because it rolls your damage between 1 and 20, as you would probably guess from the title. This is the other cool part. These are your different levels. They're called tomes, and basically each tome has its own modifier and mechanic to play the game with. So the first one, this is just your basic tome. This is your intro tome, so it's just kind of get through the level. Your second one is called Wolves of Dawn and Dusk. You get 2 wolf companions, and that's the one we'll be playing, and they help you fight. The third one is the quest board, so it gives you all these side objectives, and the more you complete, the stronger you will get. The fourth one is called Rivals. Elites suffer 0 damage from scribes. That is you. You are called a scribe. Scribes slowly become unraveled, allowing them to defeat elites. Sorry, unrivaled. I can't read. And so that's an interesting mechanic that you have to play around, is just kind of timing when you go after those stronger mobs. And then you have Pride and Profit, which is, it turns the whole thing kind of into a gold merchant adventure where you're killing things to gain gold, you take damage, you lose gold, but then you can spend the gold to gain even more power-ups. However, the suggested reading, quote-unquote, is the Wolves of Dawn and Dust, so we're going to be doing that. So the really cool thing is how the modifiers for these tomes also work. It is like most roguelikes, you know, if you've ever played Hades or anything else where they have modifiers that'll make things harder in a specific way. What I really like about this is a lot of them aren't just, oh, enemies take less damage. It's interesting stuff like, okay, there's lava pools now, there's explosive orbs now, there's lightning. I guess I kind of just went through three that are kind of the same. They all just have hazards. This will add zombies to the map, so that's kind of interesting. The more of these you add, the more difficult it becomes, but also the more rewards you'll get. We're just going to do a couple right now. I don't want to try to push my record. Like I said, things have been going difficult in this game, so we're just going to do the zombies and roll on in here. So, at the start of each run, you get to pick 2 ability modifiers. So the first card per draw, Splinters, to hit a nearby foe. This one's really good for what I'm doing, and this is because I want to hit as many enemies with my generator as possible, because doing that tethers them, and the tether is how I stay alive. So you can see how I would want that. There, quite a few of them are already tethered up, and that kind of allows me to stay very, very healthy with red ink. And that's the cool thing about the whole the whole ink class system, is some generators are better and worse than others, right? So this generator is super good with red ink because it provides a way to go, I'm going to hit a lot of things at once for you. There are other generators that only hit one guy and they hit him pretty hard, but the whole name of the game with red ink is I want to touch everybody and everything, because that is how I stay afloat. It's one of those things where there are some pretty interesting build combinations you can make. And, you know, the game knows this. It even has loadouts that you can save. I can't remember the last time a roguelite had loadouts, mostly because usually, right, the whole system is based on power-ups you get in the run. But here you at least kind of get your basic, this is how I fight things from the jump. So we can get Blood Shield, so we can now generate Temporary Barrier. I don't want to go for this, and that is because I know there are actually some power-ups later on that will make me stronger the less barrier I have. So if I just stick at 0, it'll be really good. We're going to go with this, so our signature is now going to detonate enemies that are already tethered, so that's pretty cool. These are all based on my dash, which I don't care about, so we're going to re-roll that. Tethers lasts an additional 3 seconds is really good. Each energy spent reduces the cooldown of red signature. That's really good, but we're going to go with the tethers last an additional 3 seconds. Again, I've been having some rough runs, so I'm going to stress defense. So between the battle levels, you get these, they call them vignettes, and they just function a little bit different. It's usually either a puzzle or a platforming section, or in this case, it's just roulette. It's just roulette, so I just have to pick one of these and hope that I get right. I always pick purple. If you've been to the channel before, you know it's my favorite color. I will always go with it. It has failed me this time, but I don't think it'll fail me next time. But, you know, hey, who cares? This is where you start seeing font powers. Font powers have 2 rows that are specific to the tome, and then 2 rows that are just general power-ups you can always kind of get. So this first one is specific to the tome. Font supplies bones. Nearby scribes can pick up and feed these to Dawn and Dust. That's the name of the wolves, and the wolves gain 15% damage each time they are fed, up to a max of 150% damage. So we definitely want to keep them fed. One of these is, this is going to require me to focus on these bones on the ground and run up to the wolves. They run around a lot. I don't like doing this one. This one means the wolves can feed off of my energy. Now, I'm not going to do this now, but depending on the power-ups I get, you can sometimes generate a very generous amount of energy, and that way you can keep them constantly fed. I'm actually going to go with the damaging one, and this is simply because I'm able to put my health back very quickly, and so I think that'll be a reliable way to keep them fed. Much like yourself in powering up in roguelites, this game has a mechanic where you power up your enemies every level you go up. I need to pick what their power-up's going to be. So they have a chance to call down a sword from the heavens, devastating foes caught in its attack. Splices are avenged by a hail of arrows when slain. Scribes grant embossed to the first torn they dare to damage each chapter, and embossed increases health, damage, and size for non-boss torn. So we're going to go with this one. And that's just mostly because I don't care if like a unit is stronger. I do care about some other things that these could have given me, but this guy right in front of us that's huge and kind of angry, not the little one, the big one, this dude, he'll go down just like everything else. We're actually going to ulti him just to see if we can really give him what's for. So I make it a point to stay away from these dudes because they can hurt quite a bit. One of the modifiers I really want for this current build is to make it... There's a modifier that will take all of my needles that I generate with my spender, and it will turn them into one needle that is just going to shoot through everybody. Does a lot more damage, I've noticed. You know, maybe I could be just kind of gaslighting myself and entirely wrong, but I don't think so. It seems to have been quite busted in previous runs, so we'll see. Alright, what do we got? Draw generates plus 100%. So this is what I was just talking about, right? I could go with the one where they eat my energy, and I can go with things like this that give me a lot of energy. We're going to go with this one, though. Textual Might. Gain 1% damage per max HP. That's going to be very nice for us. Okay, so we have 3 new ones we can choose from. Start of each chapter, the font places a pickup on the map. When collected, you gain plus 33% damage for 20 seconds. That's pretty good. Font places a pickup when collected, become impervious for 7 seconds. That's pretty good. And then this one grants health, barrier, or invulnerable when caught. I don't want to mess with my barrier, so we're not going to do that. Fully fed dusk can do sundown, pulling in nearby. I want that because if I localize all of them, it'll be easier for me to tether all of them and thus stay alive and deal a lot of damage. Okay, splices summon beams. Nope, I never do that one. Splices frequently become charged, exploding in an area if struck. Splices slow the cooldown rate of any scribes by 50%. That's pretty large. I don't like any of these. We're gonna go with this one. So, because I kind of keep it range, I think I should be okay. But I actually have never picked that one before. It's one of those abilities that, like, I play a lot of roguelites, and that's one of those abilities that sounds particularly nasty to me. Just from games I've played in the past. As you see, I'm not doing well at dodging at all. And that is mostly because I'm not good at these games. I love playing them. I will never sit here and be like, oh, I'm so sweaty at roguelites. Nope. I play them casually and have a great time doing so. I respect the people who can do hard mode every time and crave that. My motto here is life is hard enough. I don't need to make my hobby and my outlet harder. Not that I have a particularly hard life, but, you know, life in general ain't easy. Granted, I say this, but I also don't like playing things on easy mode, right? Like, there's a certain level of pride I still have to have, okay? I won't play things on easy. I will play them on normal, but I usually won't sit there and go, I need to go up to hard. There's a few games I will, if they're just really lowballing it and just kind of tossing you wins. Right, so this guy needs to die. He's very, very tanky and large, and I hate him. He keeps putting things down that slow me. Yep, like that. But he finally died, and when he died, we get a power. Yeah, so I restore partial energy when taking damage. So I almost regret not going with that font power for the wolves, where they feed on my energy instead. Simply because I've had a lot of chances since then to greatly increase the energy I generate. But that's okay. I can still pick it. It's not one of those things where you can only get one per row. You can keep going. Draw has a 20% chance to cast Weave. Yeah, we're gonna go with that. Okay. Weave increases draw damage by 50%. Okay, yeah, cool. Well, I'll take that, because now, what do we got? We have draw casting Weave with a 20% chance. Doesn't seem to be activating too much, but it is activating, so it'll now just kind of passively power itself up, which is really nice. I am thinking about this, but I'm probably not going to take it just yet. We're gonna just move on, leave those other 2 points unspent, and that's fine. Alright. Tangent projectiles bounce. Ravings emit a singularity when killed, pulling in nearby scribes. Zombies emerge with 5 seconds of impervious. I don't like that. I don't like that. We're gonna go with the projectiles bounce. I might be cooking up a perfect storm for myself to die here, but, you know. While I say I prefer my roguelites to not be too hard, again, I do like a challenge. But I'm not a Souls-like player, all right? I'm not the kind of person who wants to pick up a game and knowingly just be like, oh yeah, this will make me throw my controller through my TV. Perfect, let's do it. That it ain't. Couldn't be me. Couldn't be me. As you see, I'm kind of getting passed around a lot, but because of the red ink, I'm staying pretty topped off in my health. So this is actually kind of why I really like this one. Now, on higher difficulties, this isn't as efficient at keeping you topped off. It's still very good. You know, it's not like the ink becomes useless, but it is not a guaranteed you just stay alive kind of card, you know? I do wish that the dogs looked a little bit more active. They just kind of feel like they walk up to stuff and they, like, lazily bite at it. Okay. This could be kind of cool, but I think I'm going to go with Tethers continuously apply weakened. So that's going to just increase how survivable I am, which is really cool for me. We are going to go with this one. And we're going to keep going. I probably could have picked another power there as well, but I wasn't really feeling it. Okay. Damage Ravings, Pulse Stain. Horn gain plus 30% speed. Tangents arrive with floating defensive shields. We're going to go with speed, because I kind of want them near me anyways. Or maybe I don't want them near me. Tether, I don't know if there's a max range to tether, but I don't really care if they're near me, right? If they're constantly healing me, that's fine to me. Yeah, being able to just keep tethered up is phenomenal. It's actually funny because I did not think... When I first started playing this game, I didn't really think about the interactions between the classes and the generators and spenders. I was just like, oh yeah, like, this hurts things. And I actually had a period of time where I thought the red ink was terrible, and it was because I had picked a generator that only hits one person at a time and doesn't pierce. So what happens with that is I don't tether a lot of things, and if you don't tether a lot of things, guess what? Your whole class mechanic becomes useless. And so it very much is one of those things, and I think that's why I like this roguelike so much, is there's a little bit of buildcraft that you have to kind of put forethought into before you go on your run, as opposed to just, you know, mid-run being like, oh, is this power going to be better? Is this power? It's like, no, you have to set your run up right, or you can set yourself up for failure. Which I find, I think those are the kind of games I like. Like, I love Monster Hunter. And it's funny because a lot of people will see, you know, how much I play Monster Hunter and how much I love that game. They'll be like, oh, you'd love the Souls-likes. No, I hate Souls games. 9 times out of 10. There's a couple that I play that I enjoy, but they're more like those Hades-likes that are really roguelikes with Souls-likes elements. Regular Souls-like games don't do it for me, and I think it is because a big part of me enjoying a game is the prep. It's the thought, or it's the thought craft around it, right? It's not just going out there and playing. Hey, Juggernaut sounds pretty good. Oh, this is hard. So I increase size, which means I move less, but I gain so much health and low knockback taken. However, Weave Needles explode on impact is pretty good. Yeah, we're gonna go with Juggernaut. That just feels... We're being tanky. We're being tanky boy this time. Casting Draw grants subsequent casts plus 5 damage up to 50%, then resets. That's crazy. Generating energy unleashes a free Weave Needle. I think we're gonna focus on that. So that is another thing, is you can kind of take builds and focus on, do I want to go for my spender or my generator? Alright, so this is what I believe it's a platforming vignette. What are we talking about? Explore, then reach the font. Yes, it is a platforming vignette. Oh, thank you. Yeah, usually these aren't too bad. They're usually fairly obvious in what you have to do, or in how to do it. Huh. But don't fall off like I did. I like how... I feel like every time I've recorded a video, I will be talking shit about how easy something is, and then just immediately fail. Like, every time I record one of these roguelike plays, I'm like, yeah, this thing's really easy, doesn't bother me at all, I do it all the time, and it's fine, and then I immediately just fucking lose. Okay, I'm just wasting time here. Anyways, I was trying to get the thing over there. If you do the activity in the vignette, you can get the power, but you can also just leave like I'm doing right now. And that's mostly because I suck. Alright, so we have stuff down here. Font applies marked to nearby enemy. Notices persisting plot hole in each chapter. Touching the portal teleports scribes toward the font. Undamaged motes have an 8% chance to drop from slain foes. We're gonna go with this. I have 2 left, so we're gonna go with this. Alright. And this is the boss. So, just like with every other level, you are giving the boss something that makes it powerful. Randomly teleport sounds funny. I'm gonna go with that. That just sounds funny to me. Watch me get a boss that attacks super fast and I just get absolutely rammed. Alright. We just need to make sure we keep up the damage. Bosses in this game are kind of not that hard, I've noticed. However, However, there is one thing I have not said about this game, and I will not be able to show you guys in this playthrough because I'm not there yet. This game, this roguelite, has raids. And now, you might be thinking, Cobalt, they call them raids, and it's just going to be a silly boss fight that's not that hard or whatever, right? No, they're like full-on, almost MMO-esque raids. You basically will pick a mechanic that will happen in there while you go in, and then the boss also has its own mechanics, and it is one of those things where if you and the other 3 players you're with don't play to the mechanics, you will just lose. Like, it is non-negotiable. I don't think, from what I've seen of the raids, I don't think you can really brute force your way through them, which is kind of cool. So yeah, at the end, you unlock more pages. Pages are, as you can see, they are the little power-ups you get. And then bindings are the modifiers for levels. So you also get a binding, and then you get quill marks, which is how it's your meta progression currency. So yeah, that was a run of Vellum. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Definitely take a look in the description. Go check this game out if this seemed like something that was interesting to you. I'm definitely going to be playing a lot of this on the channel probably. I've really been enjoying my time with this. Thank you all for tuning in. If you enjoyed, a subscribe and a like would be greatly appreciated. I'm really trying to grow the channel, get somewhere with it, you know, so that would be great. Hopefully, I will see you guys in tomorrow's video. Have a good one.